The Williams family had been looking forward to Christmas for weeks, but as the snowstorm outside grew fiercer, their festive plans began to fall apart. The Williams had always spent Christmas Eve at Grandma and Grandpa's house, enjoying family time, playing games, and singing carols. But this year, the snow was too heavy to travel. Lily, the youngest at 8, stared out the frosted window, watching the snowflakes swirl in the cold wind. "This is the worst Christmas Eve ever," she sighed, her heart sinking. Jake, her older brother, lounged on the couch, glued to his video game. "It's not that bad. We don't have to wear those itchy Christmas sweaters or pose for family pictures," he muttered without looking up. Dad, who always tried to stay positive, glanced up from the fireplace where he was stoking the embers. "Come on, team. It's Christmas Eve. Let's make the best of this." Lily's shoulders slumped. "How can we make the best of this? We were supposed to be at Grandma's house." "Hey, we're all here, together," Dad said, his voice light but reassuring. "And we've still got our Christmas cookies and hot cocoa. Plus, we can always create new traditions." Mom, who had been quietly sipping her cocoa, suddenly put down her mug and smiled. "What if we try something different? Something fun?" Lily looked up with interest. "Like what?" Mom's eyes twinkled as she looked at each of them. "What if we have a Christmas Eve talent show?" "A talent show?" Jake raised an eyebrow, clearly skeptical. "Like, for real?" "Absolutely," Mom said, her excitement growing. "Everyone gets to show off a talent, anything you want. We'll have our own stage right here at home. What do you think?" Lily's face lit up with delight. "I'll do a comedy routine. I've been practicing some funny jokes." Jake groaned, tossing his controller aside. "I guess I'll play the guitar or something." Dad, always the good sport, stood up. "I'm going all out. I'm going to sing and dance. It's going to be epic." Everyone started getting ready, and soon the living room was buzzing with activity. The Christmas tree in the corner, still only half decorated, seemed to glow with a renewed energy as the family gathered around it. Lily was the first to take the stage. She stood in front of the living room, holding her stuffed bear, Mr. Fuzz, like a microphone. "Ladies and gentlemen, prepare to laugh," she declared, her face bright with enthusiasm. She started her comedy act with a series of jokes she'd been practicing for weeks. "Why don't Christmas trees ever want to play hide and seek?" she asked, pausing for dramatic effect. "Because they're always spotted." She grinned widely as her family burst into laughter. Lily's jokes were silly but charming, and they had the whole family in stitches. She didn't just tell jokes, she did impressions, mimicked family members, and even made fun of herself in the most endearing way. "And now, the world-famous Mr. Fuzz will tell his joke," she said, making the bear speak in a deep voice. "Why was the snowman looking through the carrots at the grocery store?" "Because he was picking his nose." The whole family laughed, and even Jake clapped in appreciation. Okay, you win." "That was pretty good," he said with a grin. Next, it was Jake's turn. He reluctantly picked up his guitar, trying to act cool, but his nervousness was obvious. All right, he said, clearing his throat. "This is for all you Christmas lovers out there." Jake played a simple version of Jingle Bells, but his voice was surprisingly good. He added a few unexpected riffs on the guitar and threw in a couple of fun solos, making his family laugh even more. His performance wasn't perfect, but it was full of heart and his love for music was clear. "That was awesome." Lily cheered, jumping up from the floor. Now it was Dad's turn. He was the self-proclaimed king of Christmas cheer, and he wasn't about to disappoint. With a flourish, he picked up a Santa hat and plopped it on his head. "All right, folks, here's the main event," he said dramatically. Dad began by singing his favorite Christmas carol, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, but it wasn't just a simple song. He danced around, doing silly spins, exaggerated jazz hands, and even a couple of moonwalk moves. He added in a few quirky sound effects and pulled the family in with his over-the-top performance. "Dad, that was hilarious," Jake said, laughing uncontrollably. Mom shook her head, grinning. "You're lucky you're so charming," she teased. Finally, it was Mom's turn. She stood up, cleared her throat, and adjusted her sweater. "I've got something different for you all," she said, pulling out a piece of paper. "This is one of my favorite Christmas traditions, * 'twas the night before Christmas. But I'm going to give it a dramatic reading, so get ready for some theater." Mom's voice changed as she got into character. She recited the poem with a deep, exaggerated voice, making the words come alive with emotion. She acted out the scenes, and even though she was just reading from the paper, it felt like an entire production. Her family watched, captivated by her animated performance. When all the performances had finished, everyone clapped and cheered. It was clear the night had been a huge success. The Williams family was full of energy and laughter, something they hadn't felt in ages. But of course, they had to vote. "Okay, let's vote for the best performer of the night," Dad said, pulling out a notebook to tally the votes. "Obviously, I'm the winner," Dad said, laughing. "I was the only one who did both singing and dancing." Jake shook his head. "No way. Lily was hilarious with her comedy act. She definitely takes the crown." Mom smiled at Lily. "You were amazing, sweetie. I think I'm voting for you too." After a brief voting session, the results were in. Lily was crowned the best performer for her comedy act and her heartwarming antics with Mr. Fuzz. Everyone cheered and gave her a standing ovation. As the night wound down, the family sat together, exhausted but happy. The snowstorm outside had subsided, but the warmth inside the house felt even stronger. Mom looked around at her family, her heart full. "You know," she said thoughtfully, "this was one of the best Christmas Eves we've ever had. I think we should make this a tradition, even when there's no snowstorm. Let's always have a family talent show." Jake, still catching his breath from laughing so much, nodded. "Definitely. This was way better than sitting around watching TV." Dad grinned and wrapped his arm around Mom. "I agree. Next year, I'm adding some new dance moves. You won't be able to top them." Lily, who was still riding the high from her performance, gave Mr. Fuzz a big hug. "Best Christmas ever," she exclaimed. The family agreed, and as the night went on, they sat together in front of the fire, talking, laughing, and reliving the highlights of the talent show. Despite the cancelled trip and the snowstorm, the Williams family had made this Christmas Eve unforgettable. They'd created a new tradition of joy, creativity, and most of all, togetherness.